Ava Petrucci tweets, I can't find anywhere with language that they are protesting the mandate itself. It seems to me they are protesting how some white people enforce the mandate. That's not the same thing. Exactly. And when you consider the police aren't enforcing the mandate, Black Lives Matter New York is acting as the enforcement for the equitable application of the mandate. Black Lives Matter New York, not only are they not protesting the mandate, they're acting as civilian police enforcement of the mandate. I don't think most people are getting this distinction. What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Thanks for joining. There were some statements made by Black Lives Matter New York against the key to the city in New York, which is the official name of the V mandate. And I fully support Black Lives Matter if they take a position against the V mandates. But they're playing games. They're not doing that. And Tim Pool, Comic Dave Smith, a lot of people are wondering, like, oh, are they going to do that? I haven't seen it yet. Maybe that happens, but let me let you know what I am seeing. Here's why the confusion is coming. Here's Hawk Newsome in a private interview.
About these mandates. Listen, it's a choice, okay? It's a choice. You shouldn't exclude people from everyday activities because they choose not to engage in something they have every reason to doubt. The government story on the have changed every 1 to 2 months since Donald Trump. Have had effects that people come out and say, oh, well, you know, that never happens. But they do happen. People die. Joe Biden said that folks wouldn't be hospitalized. People are being hospitalized and dying. We, as black people, have every reason not to trust. Well, yet again, I'm not telling you not to get it. I'm just saying you should have a choice.
I fully support this statement, but that was a private interview. They're not marching on that message. I haven't seen it, at least. Not even close to that. Maybe that changes, but they're not yet. Here's what they're marching on.
There was a racist hostess standing right here, y'all. She was nasty to black people. They asked for a vaccine passport. She showed it to them, and when they showed it to them, she said it was a fake.
This white man said he was a white American. So that's your privilege above a black woman? That's your privilege? That's your privilege? This homie was wrong. A white
And this business has no reason to perpetuate vaccination, anti-vaccination narrative.
Hold on. This what we do to God and angels. We put money on their head. Let me get my dollar back. We put money on their head. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. What's the fucking move? What's the fucking move, bro? This is peace. This is peace. Go home, bro. We don't want you here, bro.
This vaccination card mandate to create more Sandra Bland's and more Breonna Taylors. It ends here. Consider yourself served.
Right.
Cancel karma.
Are you listening? They said you will not use the V mandates to create more Sandra Bland's, who died in police custody in 2015, and Breonna Taylor. Then she said, cancel Carmine's, a restaurant. That's not challenging the key to the city. That's saying if you're going to do the key to the city, then we don't want to be profiled. That's not even close to challenging the key to the city. It's not challenging a V mandate at all. They are concerned about perceived racism, not mandates. They're fine with the mandate as an organization as long as it's being applied evenly. Or at least they haven't protested against that. Maybe privately in interviews they're saying that. I'm going to kind of get to why they might be doing that. But I want to see, what are they protesting? What gets me upset is their premise here is wrong. Hawk Newsome, all of them, they're completely wrong. The The NYPD came through the Carmines because somebody went hands-free. They were throwing hands. That's why the NYPD came through. They didn't come through because of the key to the city. If you follow this, quoting from pix11.com local news in New York, details about the implementation and enforcement of the city's new V requirements at restaurants, gyms, and theaters are still being worked out. However, one thing is certain: it will not be enforced by the NYPD. So why are they even talking about Breonna Taylor? What does that have to do with the V mandate? They're nowhere near talking about a V mandate as a group and marching. The police commissioner said, "It would be my desire that the NYPD is not a part of it." Shea said during this, Shea is the police commissioner. Shea said during this morning show interview. His boss, Mayor Bill de Blasio, drove that point home at his daily news conference too. This is a civilian approach, the mayor said. The Department of Health in particular, he said, would enforce the requirement. And we're going to come forward over the next week or two with the specific rules. They clearly said NYPD's like, this isn't a law. This is an emergency executive mandate. We are not enforcing this. It's going to be on civilians. That's what should be protested. That's what's allowing a restaurant to potentially, allegedly, discriminate and profile people. It's not a law. Black Lives Matter in New York, not only are they not protesting the mandate, they're acting as civilian police enforcement of the mandate. So the restaurant is the one in charge of enforcing this. You don't see the problem with civilian enforcement of an executive mandate? That's not what Black Lives Matter is challenging. When they do, call me. They're not even close to that position right now. There was a video that got taken down off of Twitter for what reason, I don't know. Unless they said it was a deep fake, I don't know why it got, this is bizarre stuff. Informational warfare. But there's a video of Ibram X Kendi, famous critical race theory expert, all into this racist stuff. There's a video of him being asked about the V mandates.
But what I will say is, to me, the actual problem isn't the vaccine mandates. The actual problem is when you actually study those, particularly Black and Latinx people who aren't vaccinated, you actually talk to them, we're finding that a lack of accessibility to the vaccine for a whole host of reasons is actually leading to them having a lower rate, while with white Americans, it's more or less the result of their political ideology.
So the person asks, well, you believe that anything, this is under critical race theory and practice, anything that disproportionately affects Black people is racist. You don't bring up choices or environment. It's just, that's inherently racist. So the question is, if the key to the city, the V mandates, are disproportionately affecting Black people, and you, not what I believe, what you believe is that's institutionally racist, are you supporting the V mandates or not? Kendi straight up said, yes, the problem is not the V mandates.
To me, the actual problem isn't the vaccine mandates.
So he's not Black Lives Matter in New York, but I just want to let you know they're in a problematic position. I'm going to end with this. What's really happening? The pandemic is real. I want to make sure that is clear. I am not diminishing the pandemic. What I'm saying is, during tough times, real tough times, you can get valuable information that you could never get before. The Democratic establishment told everyone to do something, and they said it's life or death. There's no more ultimate decision than that, and how they presented it as life and death. When you look at the numbers in New York, there are a lot of Black Americans who are choosing not to get that thing. And this is voters and non-voters. So this is information you couldn't get under most other circumstances. So now the Democratic establishment is looking at it and they're like, whoa, Black Americans vote for us hardcore. We know that. But this is a life or death thing we told them to do. They don't really rock with us fully. That percentage of people represent people that could go to Trump, they could go to populists, they could go to Tulsi Gabbard, they could go to anybody in the midterms and in 2024. because they're not fully bought in on Democrats. That's clear. So now that they've identified who's bought in and who's not, how would you get that group back into the fold when we're starting midterm season right now? The early start of midterm season. We need them back in the fold, or we need to make sure they're in the fold. You would have to do it with a group like Black Lives Matter or Black Lives Matter Local New York. So what they're doing is rallying the troops to make sure that those disaffected Black Americans who don't believe the establishment when they say it's life or death, that they link up and stay linked up with Black Lives Matter New York. If they stay linked up with Black Lives Matter New York, when midterms come, maybe Kamala's president or whatever the situation might be, Black Lives Matter New York can say, we have no choice. We can't let these racists win. We can't let these people win. We've got to go back to the Democrats. Because if they don't keep them in the fold, they won't have the power to deliver those votes. The reason why they can't go against mandates is because libertarians are not for the mandates. MAGA is some MAGA, not everybody, but it's an intersectionality of politics with libertarians, non-democratic establishment, Republicans, MAGA. So if they agree, if they go into that intersection and agree with those groups, that for them, they lose credit. And I mentioned this in a video yesterday. Somebody went after Hawk Newsome for coming close to getting support of anti-vax people. That's why they can't fully support the mandate. So that's why in a private interview, Hawk Newsome's like, I think it should be your choice, but he's not marching on that message though. And if they do, I'll do a video saying props. Let's all rally in. But they want to keep it about race. They're not marching on the mandates just to march on the mandates. They're always going to march and bring up Breonna Taylor or something that has nothing to do with it to make sure that when we march, it's just our people. We're not marching with anybody else. But that's where the power is if we want to actually change this country. They're playing both sides. On Twitter, they said Republicans are oppressors. This is from Hawk Newsome. Then he said Democrats are oppressors that convince you that they're on your side. Okay, so that means like he's supposed to be impartial. But, well, why, when Joe Biden won, was Hawk Newsome and his sister celebrating?
Workers continue celebrating Joe Biden's projected win with a block party. Sunday, Black Lives Matter Greater New York organized the event in the Bronx, and News 12's Michelle Ross has more on what they're trying to do to move the community forward.
No matter who's in the White House, we still have to fight for Black liberation.
Hawk Newsome and his sister Shavana say having Joe Biden as the president-elect doesn't take all their problems away.
But today we need to celebrate him leaving, a return to democracy, a new time to move forward in America, and we wanted to give back to the community.
They're bringing together those who they say were hardest hit by the Trump administration by providing resources to the neighborhood.
You could have supported Biden, which is problematic by itself, but you could have supported Biden and said, after he won, this isn't a time for celebration. We're not going to be dancing out here in these streets. They're both oppressors. We just chose this one. But nope, that wasn't the message. They were celebrating because they delivered that group back home and let someone who stayed in their basement, didn't really run a campaign, helped him win. And now they're playing both sides.
You're called. You can't run from it. You can't deny it. You can't pass it off. It's your call. God knew what he was doing. He knew who he was calling. And he expertly and intricately detailed every aspect of your life, your being, your persona, your psyche, your physicality, everything about you, from the texture of your hair to the color of your eyes to the way that you laugh to the fingerprint on your thumb. Everything is connected to your calling. And until you walk into the fullness of the thing that you were created for, you will find yourself frustrated. Every time I tried to run from the thing that I was called to, frustration set in. Anybody else ever tried to run from God?
I'm grateful for myth-informed MKE they posted that Ibram X Kendi video that I linked here, and Twitter took it down and suspended them for 7 days, is what it looks like. Unbelievable. I don't know if the only reason that I would say that would be okay is if it was a deep fake. But they obviously don't give a reason. But my reason for bringing them up is they've got an event Saturday, November 6th. It's called Better Discourse 3 in Fort Worth, Texas. The last one, I didn't see the first one, but I saw the last one. Excellent. It's like you're getting YouTubers, podcasters, populist left and populist right in the room on a panel, and they just talk about topics.
No, I'm telling you, they're corrupt. They're pushing a certain agenda. They're pushing interests. They have an echo chamber that they believe in. It's called the Blob in the United States government. It's very tied to Foggy Bottom, State Department interests, right? They shape intelligence to fit certain interests, to push agendas that then lead towards foreign policy outcomes. This is the reason we've been in Afghanistan for 20 years.
It's absolutely excellent. And even establishment, because I think Destiny was at one. I would consider him a neo-establishment dude. But great conversation. Let me know what you think. Am I off base about Black Lives Matter? I don't think they're about that life because they would have to agree with libertarians, MAGA, other people. But that's where the power would come from. So if they are, I would love it. But right now, with them playing games, in my opinion, stakes are too high for all that. Take care.
Stakes is high. You know them stakes is high when you talking about stakes is high. You know them stakes is high. We be talking about stakes is high. You know them stakes is high. The instamatic focal point bringing damage to your burrow. Be some brothers from the east with them beats that be thorough. Got the solar gravitation, so I'm bound to pull it. I gets down like brothers are found, ducking from bullets. Gun control means using both hands in my land, where it's all about the cautious living. Migrating to a higher form of consequence. Compliments are struggling, that shouldn't be notable. Man, every word I say should be a hip-hop quote.
I'm sick of bitches shaking asses. I'm sick of talking about blood, sick of Versace glasses, sick of slang, sick of half-ass award shows, sick of name brand clothes, sick of R&B bitches over bullshit tracks, cocaine and cracks, which brings sickness to blacks. Sick of swole head rappers with they sickening raps, claps and gaps, making the whole sick world collapse. The facts are getting sicker, even sicker perhaps. I stick a bush to make a bundle to escape the synapse.
Man, life can get all up in your ass, baby. You better work it out. Now let me tell you what it's all about. A skin not considered equal. A meteor has more right than my people who be wasting time screaming who they've hated. That's why the native tongues has officially been reinstated. Stakes is high. You know them stakes is high. When we talking about stakes is high. Y'all know them stakes is high when we dealing with them. Stakes is high. Man, yo, stakes is
what
high.
About that love?
Yo, it's about love of cars. Love for funds, loving to love mad sex, loving to love guns, love for opposite, love for fame and wealth, love for the fact of no longer loving yourself, kid. We living in them days of the man-made ways where every aspect is vivid. These brothers no longer talk shit, yo. These niggas live it, about to give it to you 24/7 on the microphone. Plug one, translating the zone. No offense to a player, but yo, I don't play. And if you take offense, fuck it, got to be that way. JD Dub, show your love, what you got to say?
I say jeans and make you take is at a high regard. And niggas dying for it nowadays ain't hard. Investing in fantasies and not God. Welcome to reality, see times is hard. People try to snatch the credit but can't claim the card. Showing out in videos saying they co-starred. See shit like that'll make your mama cry. Better watch the way you spend it cause the stakes is high.
You know them stakes is high when you're dealing with the stakes is high. Man, them stakes is high.
Check it. I think that smiling in public is against the law. Cause love don't get you through life no more. It's who you know and how you son. And how you getting in and who the man holding heat. Yo, and how was the skins and how high. Yo, what up, high? I heard you caught a body. Seem like every man and woman share the life of John Gotti.
But they ain't organized.
Mixing crimes with life enzymes. Taking the big scout route. And niggas no doubt better than they know they daughters and they sons.
Yo, people go through pain and still don't gain positive contact. Just just like my main man who got others cleaning up his physical influence. His mind got congested, he got the non-influent. Neighborhoods are now hoods, cause nobody's neighbors, just animals surviving with that animal behavior under eye. We'll be rhyming from dark to light sky. Experiments where needles and skin connect. No wonder where we live is called the projects. When the mistakes is high, we damn sure try to do anything to get the piece of the pie. Electrify, even die for the cash, but at last we be out, even though you're wanting more. This issue was closed like an elevator door, but soon we open once we get to the next